They will tell you loyalty is priceless, that it cannot be bought, only earned. But the truth is far less romantic. Loyalty is a currency minted in favors, sustained by fear, and spent by those who understand its volatility. And like all currencies, it inflates, devalues, corrupts. It moves not according to moral gravity, but according to the forces of necessity and control. The loyal man is not born, he is shaped, cultivated by the pressure of power, conditioned by the reward of survival. When a ruler forgets this, when he assumes loyalty is permanent, he prepares his own fall, because loyalty is not a vow, it is a wager, a bet on who can provide protection, prestige, proximity to power. And when that bet turns sour, betrayal becomes inevitable. I have seen empires collapse not from invasion, but from misplaced trust. Men who ruled entire continents felled by whispers in dark corridors, by the shifting eyes of a once loyal court. The crown does not protect you from the knife. In fact, it attracts it. The most dangerous illusion in power is to believe that because they cheer you, they love you. They do not. They love what you can give them: access, immunity, elevation. Strip those away, and you will hear a silence far more instructive than any applause. That silence is truth. It is not that they hated you, it is that they never needed you, not beyond what you offered. So what does the wise ruler do? He learns to lease loyalty, not to own it. He understands it must be renewed, recalibrated, tested like a weapon before battle. You must create dependence, not devotion, fear, not friendship, respect, not reverence. Reverence fades, respect sharpens. A man who is feared may be hated, but he will be obeyed. A man who is merely loved will be tolerated until he is no longer useful. If you cannot be feared, then be indispensable. But never believe you are adored. That is the most seductive lie in all of power, that affection is armor. But loyalty is not only what you receive, it is what you give. And this too must be measured. Do not be loyal to those who have no power to protect you. That is not loyalty, it is servitude. Bind yourself to those whose fortunes are rising, whose ruthlessness matches your own. Loyalty given to the weak is a debt that will never be repaid. Loyalty given to the strong is an investment, and one day it yields. And yet, loyalty is never pure. It is always mixed with ambition. No man gives his allegiance without calculation. They pledge their loyalty to your shadow, not to your soul, to what you appear to be, not what you are. This is why the theater of power is as vital as its reality. They must see you as immovable, inevitable, eternal. The moment they glimpse your doubt, your hesitation, your fracture, they begin to plan their escape or your demise. So you must act always as if your seat is unshakable, even as the earth beneath you trembles. Project certainty when all you hold is chaos. Govern not through sincerity, but through control of appearances. The stage matters more than the script, because in the end, perception is allegiance. And men follow not truth, but the strongest illusion. Do not overestimate gratitude. The man you rescue today will resent you tomorrow. He will not remember the hand that pulled him up, only the feeling of being seen on his knees. Gratitude is short-lived, but envy is eternal. If you must show mercy, do so in private. Let no man feel small in public unless you are ready to make him disappear. This is the paradox of rule. You must command loyalty from men who would replace you. You must inspire trust from those who fear you. You must reward ambition while never letting it grow taller than your own. It is a balancing act above a pit of knives. Do not be afraid to cut loose the disloyal early. Treachery does not sprout overnight, it grows slowly, in shadows. Once you suspect it, act. Do not wait for proof. Proof is for historians, survival is for rulers, and the best antidote to betrayal is the quiet disappearance of its seed. Still, not all loyalty is created equal. The loyalty of the desperate is the most dangerous. They will cling to you when they have no other option and abandon you the moment they do. Far better is the loyalty of the powerful, the ambitious, the capable. They serve because it serves them. Keep their interests aligned with yours, and they will stay your course. Misalign them, and they will become your replacement. Even your closest advisors, your generals, your allies, they are only loyal while it costs them nothing. The moment their fortunes are endangered by your presence, they will begin to recalculate, and calculation is the death of loyalty. The wise prince does not moralize about loyalty. He monetizes it, he manipulates it, he uses it as a lever, a bribe, a shield, a trap. He knows that every allegiance is a transaction, and every transaction must be enforced. There is no shame in this. There is only reality. The ruler who seeks love will be devoured by it. The ruler who commands loyalty will endure not because he is loved, but because he is needed, feared, respected. This is the architecture of command. You do not beg for loyalty, you construct it through fear, reward, ritual, and necessity, through constant surveillance of motives, through ruthless pruning of the disloyal, through elevation of those whose survival is linked to yours. And above all, you spend it wisely, because every act of trust is a gamble, every loyalist is a potential traitor, and every ruler, if he rules long enough, will face the hour when his currency runs out, and all that is left is what he built in its place: fear, control, and the echo of power. Power is never static. It flows, shifts, erodes like a river carving stone. The loyalty you command today is already decaying, even as they swear fealty. You cannot freeze it in place. You must tend it like a fire, feeding it with rewards and punishments, oxygen and restraint, but always aware that it can consume you if left unchecked. A ruler who clings to past loyalties is like a general fighting the last war blind to the new alliances forming in his shadow, deaf to the murmurs that grow louder each night. To rule is not to keep faith, but to keep balance, and balance is never still. The wise ruler understands that fear and loyalty are not opposites. They are two sides of the same coin. Fear binds more tightly than love because it awakens instinct. Love asks for gratitude. Fear demands obedience. And yet, fear alone is brittle. It breeds resentment, plots, and quiet hatred. To make fear enduring, you must lace it with a thread of trust. Not trust in your kindness, but trust in your inevitability. Let them believe that betrayal is not only dangerous, but futile. That there is no world where you can be replaced without chaos swallowing them all. This belief is the strongest fortress you can build, stronger than walls of stone or legions of soldiers. And yet fortresses too can become prisons. When a ruler retreats into his own defenses, he loses sight of the currents beyond the gates. Power is not held by fortification, it is held by motion. You must be both the spider weaving the web and the predator that strikes without warning. Too much mercy signals weakness, too much cruelty breeds rebellion, too much trust invites treachery. Too much suspicion suffocates ambition. The art of rule is to walk this blade without falling, and to understand that even when you walk it perfectly, fate may still conspire against you. Ambition is a fire that burns in every man around you. It cannot be extinguished. To attempt it is to waste your strength. Instead, direct it, contain it, feed it in ways that serve your ends. Let your closest allies believe they are climbing. Let them hunger for advancement, but never allow them to rise so high that they can look down upon you. And when their ambition grows teeth, break them before they bite. Strike suddenly, without warning, and let their fall be a lesson etched in the minds of all who remain. Do not imagine loyalty as a moral virtue. It is an arrangement, an agreement maintained by force, by reward, by fear of loss. Even the most steadfast servant measures your strength daily. They may not admit it even to themselves, but in their hearts they are asking, "Can you still protect me? Can you still destroy me? Can you still make me need you?" If the answer ever becomes no, you have already lost them. Survival demands vigilance, but vigilance alone is not enough. You must be willing to act before others expect it. The first blow belongs to the victor, the second belongs to the corpse. Never wait for betrayal to ripen. It ripens in secret, and by the time you see it clearly, it has already spread like a poison through the veins of your regime. Some will tell you that justice is the key to loyalty, that fairness breeds harmony. This is the philosophy of priests and poets, not princes. Justice matters only insofar as it serves your stability. The moment it threatens your grip, it must be bent or broken. Men are loyal to power, not to righteousness. They obey the strong, not the just. And if you wish to remain strong, you must not hesitate to do what others will not, to punish, to reward, to deceive, to destroy. But even as you wield these tools, do not let your own ambition blind you. Pride is the most subtle enemy of all, creeping into the hearts of rulers, whispering that they are invincible, that they are beloved, that their reign is eternal. Pride blinds you to the cracks forming in your foundation. Humility will not save you, but clear vision will. See yourself as others see you, as a means to their ends, as a necessary force, as a threat. When you understand this, you will no longer be surprised when loyalty falters or when allies become assassins. Remember this: betrayal is not a failure of character. It is the natural consequence of changing incentives. The man who betrays you does so not because he hates you, but because his calculation has shifted. And in this, he is not wrong. You too would betray if the roles were reversed, if your survival demanded it. To expect otherwise is to be naive in a world that devours the naive. This is why the ruler must never trust blindly. He must always question motives, test loyalties, create systems that make betrayal costly and loyalty profitable. He must never reveal his own heart fully, for the ruler who is known is the ruler who can be predicted, and the predictable ruler is the one most easily overthrown. Do not mistake appearances for truth. The smiles, the oaths, the public demonstrations of allegiance, they are masks. Masks worn by those who, in private, weigh your power against their ambitions. The wise ruler wears his own mask in return, concealing weakness, projecting strength, speaking with calculated clarity. He understands that power is not only a reality, but a performance, and he plays his role without hesitation. But even as you perform, remember that your stage is fragile. Applause can turn to jeers in an instant. The crowd that lifts you up today may demand your head tomorrow. Do not seek their love. Seek their respect, their dependence, their fear. Love is a gift they can withdraw. Fear is a chain they cannot break. Still, chains alone are not enough. They will resent them. They will dream of freedom. So you must give them just enough hope to keep them moving, just enough reward to quiet their hunger, just enough freedom to make them believe they are choosing to serve. In this, you transform servitude into loyalty, fear into habit, and obedience into a way of life. This is the essence of rule, to bind men to you not by sentiment, but by necessity, to make them see your survival as intertwined with their own, to ensure that when they contemplate your fall, they glimpse their own destruction in its shadow. And yet, know this truth one day: your currency will run dry. One day, no amount of fear or reward will hold them. One day, they will see your weakness, and the calculation will shift. The only question is whether you will see it first, whether you will act before they do, whether you will burn the bridge behind you so they have no escape. For in the end, loyalty is not given freely. It is purchased, maintained, enforced. It is a currency, and the ruler who spends it wisely may extend his reign. The ruler who spends it carelessly will find himself alone, abandoned, devoured by the very men he once called allies. The ruler who survives longest is not the one who inspires the deepest love, nor the one who strikes the most terror. It is the one who masters the art of calibration, the slow turning of the screw, the measured release of pressure, the shifting of masks to fit each audience. Too much leniency breeds contempt. Too much violence invites revolt. But the hand that alternates between open and closed, between gift and punishment, becomes the hand they cannot read. And men fear most what they cannot predict. You will be tempted to trust, to believe that the years of service, the The sacrifices made on your behalf, the tears shed in your name, mean that this one or that one will never betray you. That temptation is the seed of your destruction. Remember, every man serves his own interest first. Even in moments of apparent selflessness, calculation lurks. The soldier who dies for you does not die for love. He dies because he believes your cause is greater than his individual survival. If that belief falters, if the cause becomes your survival alone, he will set down his sword. Loyalty is an agreement renewed each day, not a treasure locked away for safekeeping. The wise ruler knows this and watches the faces around him like a hunter tracking the wind. He observes the shifts, the hesitation before speaking, the glance exchanged across the table, the silence where there should be laughter. These are the early signs, faint but fatal if ignored. The first whisper of betrayal is like smoke in the rafters. Put it out while it is still smoke, or face the inferno. You cannot be everywhere. You cannot hear every conversation. So you must build a network, not of friends, but of informants, watchers, men whose loyalty is tied directly to their proximity to your favor. Let them compete to bring you the first news of discontent. Let them fear that if they fail to warn you, another will. And when they do bring news, act, not always with blood. Sometimes a word, a dismissal, a demotion is enough, but act decisively so that others understand. Silence is dangerous, but betrayal is fatal. There will be those who counsel you to forgive, to turn the other cheek, to win back the wayward with kindness. These men are dangerous. They misunderstand power. Forgiveness is not virtue. It is leverage, and it must be used sparingly, strategically. To forgive too easily is to invite further offense. To forgive too late is to appear weak. When you do forgive, let it be seen as a gift, an exception granted only to those who understand its cost. Mercy loses its value when distributed like alms. And yet, even as you crush rebellion and root out treachery, beware of breeding only sycophants. A court of flatterers is a court of rot. They will tell you what you want to hear. They will cloak your flaws in honeyed words. They will trap you in a mirror of your own making. Seek instead the counsel of those who fear you enough to speak the truth, who understand that candor is their only shield. Reward them, for they are rare, but keep even them at arm's length. For truth-tellers, too, have ambitions. Do not imagine yourself above manipulation. You manipulate others, yes, but they too are watching, waiting for weakness, seeking the angle from which they can turn your power to their advantage. The wise ruler manipulates while appearing sincere, deceives while appearing transparent, bends while appearing unbreakable. He plays a role so convincingly that even he begins to believe it. This is the cost of power. To live as both actor and audience, never certain where the performance ends. In this theater, appearances are weapons. If you appear strong, they will not test you. If you appear just, they will not conspire openly. If you appear merciful, they will forgive their own fear of you. But if you let the mask slip, if they see the man behind the prince, the doubts, the fatigue, the fear, then they will begin to circle like wolves. Hide your humanity, not because it is shameful, but because it is dangerous. Power demands inhumanity, or at least the appearance of it. Every ruler faces the question, which is better, to be loved or to be feared? The answer is neither. It is better to be necessary. Love fades. Fear inspires plots, but necessity endures. When they believe they cannot eat without you, cannot rise without you, cannot survive without you, they will remain loyal not because they wish to, but because they must. Build systems where their fortunes are tied to yours, where your fall would drag them down into ruin. Then watch as their loyalty hardens into something more reliable than affection, self-preservation. But even self-preservation is not eternal. Fortunes shift. Powers rise and fall. Alliances that seemed unbreakable dissolve in a single night. If you do not adapt, you will be swept away like all those before you. The wise ruler studies history not to imitate it, but to understand its merciless rhythm. Rise, stagnation, decay, collapse. The task is not to escape this cycle, for no man can. The task is to delay it as long as possible, to extend your moment on the stage until even your enemies begin to tire. And when the end does come it will let it not come from blindness. Let it come from exhaustion, from the knowledge that you have held your ground longer than most, that you have spent loyalty as carefully as gold, that you have endured not because you were righteous, but because you were ruthless in measure, wise in timing, and merciless when necessity demanded it. Even in your fall, there is strategy. A ruler who falls poorly destroys all he built. A ruler who falls wisely leaves behind a myth, a fear, a memory that shapes those who come after. Do not let them see you crawl. Do not let them see you beg. Stand as you have always stood, and let the currency of loyalty, fear, and power you spent so carefully echo in the minds of those who inherit your place. For in the end, power is a game no man wins forever. It is not a crown, but a torch passed from hand to hand, burning each in turn. And the only question worth asking is not how long you can hold it, but how fiercely it will blaze in your grasp. A ruler's greatest threat is not the rebel at the gates nor the rival across the border. It is the man closest to him who smiles too easily, listens too intently, serves too flawlessly. Proximity breeds both loyalty and envy is the sharper of the two. The ones who stand beside your throne look upon it every day. They begin to wonder how it would feel beneath them. They whisper not because they hate you, but because power calls to them as it once called to you. You must understand this. No man admires power without desiring it. Admiration is the seed of ambition, and ambition unchecked is the architect of betrayal. The wise ruler does not seek to kill ambition. That would be to kill the vitality of his own court, to reduce it to a graveyard of the spirit. Instead, he channels it, redirects it, uses it like a river to turn his mills. Let them climb, but let them climb in circles, never toward the summit. Promise much, grant little, and always remind them who controls the flow of favors. Fear alone cannot hold them. Fear burns hot but briefly, like dry straw. It must be combined with hope, and hope must always be rationed. A man who has no hope becomes reckless. A man with too much hope becomes bold. But a man suspended between fear and hope is cautious, pliable, obedient. He waits for your signal before he moves, because he knows the cost of guessing wrong. This is the leash, invisible yet unbreakable, stronger than chains. Trust is an indulgence for private men, not for rulers. The moment you trust without calculation, you place your survival in another's hands. They will hold it lightly, then let it slip when the wind changes. Even those who swear loyalty in blood will falter. Blood dries, oaths fade, only interest endures. It is better to be betrayed because you trusted no one than because you trusted the wrong one. Do not waste your breath asking why they betray. Ask why they should not. Have you made betrayal too costly? Have you made loyalty profitable? If the answer to either is no, you already know what comes next. A dagger in the night, a letter to your enemies, a court that grows silent when you enter. Betrayal does not announce itself with fanfare. It arrives as a shadow, a hesitation, a shift in the air. Train your instincts to feel it, and when you do, act before the shadow becomes substance. Do not imagine that benevolence will save you. A ruler who is generous without limit creates entitlement, not gratitude. The gifts you give today will be forgotten tomorrow, and when you cannot give more, they will turn on you with the fury of the disappointed. Better to give sparingly and punish sharply, so that every favor feels precious and every punishment feels inevitable. Gratitude is weak. Fear lingers. Yet do not mistake cruelty for strength. A ruler who is needlessly cruel teaches his court to conspire in silence, teaches his soldiers to desert at the first chance. To rule is to calibrate, not to crush. Strike only when you must, but when you strike, strike so hard that no second blow is needed. Mercy should be rare, and when shown it should be so unexpected that it binds them to you in awe. Your face must never betray the war within. The ruler who shows his doubts invites others to voice their own. They will probe for cracks, and when they find them, they will pry until the whole edifice collapses. Even in private, cultivate the mask. Even alone, rehearse the role. The prince is not a man, but an office, a construct, a projection of strength. Forget this, and they will forget to obey. There is no permanence in power, only postponement of the inevitable. You cannot escape the wheel of fortune, but you can ride its turning longer than others if you are vigilant. Fortify your position not with walls, but with relationships of dependence. Weave a web so tight that to move against you is to risk entanglement and ruin. Make them fear the fall more than they crave your throne. If you are to endure, you must learn to live with solitude. The higher you rise, the thinner the air becomes. True companions are rare at the summit. Most who approach you come not for you, but for what clings to your name, influence, wealth, protection. Accept this without bitterness. It is the way of the world. The ruler who longs for true friendship will find only ruin in his search. Every ruler will one day be betrayed. The question is not if but when, and whether he will see it in time to turn betrayal into an opportunity. Sometimes betrayal is not a failure, but a gift. It exposes weaknesses, clarifies loyalties, cleanses the court of rot. A ruler who survives betrayal emerges sharper, harder, more dangerous. A ruler who succumbs never learns the lesson at all. And so, you must not cling to loyalty as if it were a shield. It is a tool, a blade you sharpen and sheath as needed. Spend it sparingly, test it often, renew it constantly. When it is exhausted, replenish it not with words, but with actions that remind them why they followed you in the first place. But remember, even the most careful ruler cannot hold power forever. Fortune is fickle, and time is merciless. Your task is not immortality. Your task is to rule so well, so ruthlessly, so skillfully, that when the day comes, they do not rejoice at your fall, but tremble at the vacuum you leave behind. But even as you calculate, as you maneuver, as you build the lattice of fear and reward, remember this: power is not infinite. It is borrowed, never owned. You hold it in your hands for a time, but it has its own momentum, its own hunger, and one day it will move through you and into another. When that day comes, there will be no warning, no moment to plead your case. The same forces you once commanded will turn against you as they have turned against every ruler before you. When the knives are drawn, there will be no appeals to loyalty, no redemption in the eyes of those who smiled at your table. They will not remember the victories you gave them, the enemies you destroyed, the fortunes you built. They will remember only their own survival. You are not a man to them. You are a scaffolding, and when it is safe, they will tear you down and build upon your ruin. So do not waste your years searching for love in the hearts of those you govern. Do not imagine that gratitude can outlast fear, or that friendship can survive ambition. They are not your family, not your brothers, not your equals. They are your subjects, your rivals, your pawns. And you are their ruler only so long as you remain necessary. Spend loyalty as you would spend gold, cautiously, deliberately, never forgetting how quickly it runs out. Do not be afraid to demand more than they wish to give. Do not hesitate to punish betrayal so severely that none will dare repeat it. Do not allow sentiment to erode discipline, for sentiment is a luxury you cannot afford. In the end, the prince stands alone. He stands not because he is loved, nor because he is feared, but because he has learned to wield both as instruments, never mistaking them for absolutes. He stands because he has understood that power is not a gift from others, but a force he must seize, shape, and hold with unflinching hands. And when the time comes to let go, when the wheel turns, when the crowd begins to murmur, when your most trusted allies weigh your life against their future, let them find no cracks, no pleas, no surrender. Step down as you ruled, with the calm of a man who always knew this hour would come. Let them fear the memory of you, even as they divide the spoils of your reign. Because in this world, power is temporary, but its echo is not. Rule wisely, Spend carefully, strike decisively. For when all is stripped away, the titles, the armies, the applause, there is only this. Loyalty is a currency. Spend it wisely, or one day it will spend you.